Hey everybody, this is Alex Fabrega coming at you again with another Teaching Tips Tuesday. Today I have with me Jazz. She is the Vice President of Visual Rehabilitation for the Louisiana Lighthouse, as well as the founder and host of the YouTube channel Insight for Blind. Thank you so much for being on with us today, Jazz.
Thanks for having me.
And how about you tell the folks at home a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a blind occupational therapist by trade, and actually I was born visually impaired. I have a condition called Leber's congenital amaurosis, so the majority of my life I spent with low vision, but about 12 or 15 years ago, I lost my central vision, so I've been functioning as someone who is blind. And so my career is to teach people the skills for blindness and low vision, but I also live it myself. And that's what the YouTube channel Insight for Blind is all about, is to give people a resource, a free resource for learning adaptive skills and tips, tools, and techniques that are available if you are visually impaired, so you can stay independent and safe.
And that is a perfect segue into our topic today, and that is the process of coming up with adaptations.
Yes, yes. People don't realize that adaptation is not something that you read in a textbook. I mean, there's no user manual for blindness. I wish there was, but that's what the Insight channel is all about, is really to help kind of give you some guidance there. But truthfully, adaptation is very individualized. It's very personal. So it's whatever works for you. But I would like to demonstrate how the process of adaptation works so that your viewers can use it at home or with their students.
Absolutely. What example do you have prepared for us today?
Okay. Well, I like to take a common task. And so a task that most people have to deal with when they lose vision is how to pour themselves something to drink without over pouring. Because when you start losing your vision, it's hard, especially water in a clear glass like I have here. It's hard to see, and sometimes they over pour. So when you're starting off, you're thinking, okay, so this is a visual task. So if someone has low vision, how could we make it easier for them to use their remaining vision to do the task? Well, you can take something as simple as a colored ping pong ball.
Okay.
And place it into the cup. So as you pour the water, the ping pong ball is going to float, right? So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it. Of course, I can't see the ping pong ball, so I'm going to have to actually put my finger over the top there. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, the ping pong ball rises. So someone with low vision would be able to see it rise to the top of the cup, and then they know to stop pouring. Now, if you don't have enough vision to do that task, then you think, okay, what's the next sense? I mean, the human body is an amazing machine. We have been given so many different ways to collect information from our environment around us. But when you grow up being sighted, over 50% of your brain is dedicated to interpreting visual information. So once that visual information isn't there, the brain doesn't naturally know how to compensate. It actually goes a little bit into panic mode. But your brain can be retrained to focus on those other senses. So if we cannot make this task visual, we're going to choose one of the other senses, which will be tactual. So you can just put your finger over the edge of the cup, and as you pour, when the liquid rises and touches your fingertip, you can stop pouring. That's a quick and easy way to do it. Now, some people might not be able to do that because if they are elderly, maybe they have arthritis and their fingers just don't bend that way. So they would have to put their finger over the top. Now, that's where the ping pong ball, again, can be a nice, inexpensive way to adapt to that. You saw just a minute ago, I put the ball in, and as it floated to the top, it touched the bottom side of my finger, so I knew to stop pouring. Now, if you have somebody with neuropathy and they just can't do that, they can't put their fingers over there, they can't see enough to do the task, well then,
The ping pong ball.
yeah, you can't do it. So now we're going to take it and make it an auditory task. How can we take this from a visual to a tactual to an auditory task? This is a little gizmo called a liquid level indicator. or an easy pour, easy fill. There's a whole bunch of different brands. It has 2 little metal prongs you put inside the cup, and the battery pack sits on the outside. As I pour the water and the water rises to touch the prongs, it makes sound.
Very pleasant sound, yes.
Very cool. So you know
Yeah.
to stop pouring. This is also very handy if you're dealing with coffee, because you don't want to be putting your finger in the cup when you're dealing with hot liquids. So that just gives you guys an idea that adaptation is endless. I mean, there are 1,000 possibilities for doing one single task, and it's whatever works for the strengths of the individual. This can be applied to any task for any person with any degree of vision loss or disability.
And I'd like to highlight how simple those first couple solutions were. A lot of people, when they first think about adaptations, they think, all right, what's the most expensive and complicated piece of technology I can get to accomplish this? But like the ping pong ball works pretty darn well for being a 10-cent piece of plastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what OTs, we are so good at. We're like the MacGyvers of the therapy world. I mean, we give us some duct tape and some ping pong balls. We're good. We'll figure it out.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that very well illustrated that kind of critical thinking process you go through in adaptation. Now I have one more question for you, Jazz, and
Yes.
that is, what is your favorite part of your job?
Ooh, I love my job, and I get to work with so many wonderful people. But the favorite part of what I do is being a part of that aha moment when someone realizes that their life isn't over, it's not hopeless, there is hope, they can live a productive life, a happy life, an independent life when they realize what they're capable of doing. All they need is some help to learn how adaptation works and to understand what resources are available to them, and to see that transformation from that dark place of sadness and hopelessness to excitement and renewed excitement about life. It's wonderful. It's so special to be a part of that, and so that's always been my favorite part of what I do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Jazz. And you want to tell us about Insight for Blind one more time?
Sure, I would love for everybody to check out the channel. If you go ahead and Google Insight for Blind, which is INSIGHT, the number 4, and then BLIND, all one word, it should bring up the channel. And on the channel, I showed tips, tools, and techniques for doing all kinds of different activities, everything from organizing your refrigerator or your pantry to shopping, to things that have to do with technology and reading product labels. People seem to really like that one. So it's fun things, it's things related to employment, it's things related to a little bit of everything. And if anyone has ideas on videos that they would like to see, feel free to send me your comments or your questions, and I'm happy to respond. I'd love to hear your feedback.
And I encourage everybody at home to give Insight for Blind a look. I, as a practicing TVI, have definitely used some of those adaptations with my students. And I'm going to completely parrot what you just said, that if anybody has any tips, comments, or suggestions for Teaching Tips Tuesday, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. We look very forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one.